welcome to High Top Sports Network. My name is Joe Rhodes. I'm joined by Josh Schreckengoss, Freeport Boys head coach Wayne Greiser, and West Shamokin Girls head coach Frank Nagy. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Jinx that return. Somebody owes somebody a Coke. Hey, guys, just want to jump right into it with your respective teams. Frank, you on the girls' side. We'll start with you. Talk about the progress so far this season. I know you guys suffered your first loss the other night to Pence Manor, but just kind of give me a quick synopsis of your team and share with the folks your quick analysis of the West Shamokin girls basketball program this year.
Yeah, I've been proud of the girls, how we've come out this year for sure. We do have some senior leadership. We have 5 seniors on the roster, and 3 of which regularly start, and they've really been leading us in most statistical categories. To start the season with Lexi Young being out all year from a volleyball injury, things could have gone south, or at least early on until some young girls stepped up. Her being a 2-year starter previously, and this is her junior year, so she's been the leading rebounder for us the last couple of years. But then that's when Lily Jordan has stepped up in a huge setting, and Melissa Spawn's been doing a nice job as well. So I'm just proud of the girls for how we've gone. We did suffer our first loss, as you mentioned. That was a tough one, but we talked about it that we expect to win every game, but we play. It's a pretty brutal schedule. So losses aren't surprising necessarily. You don't want to have them. But I thought we had a really nice practice the day after Pence Manor, and just getting ready for Marion Center, hopefully tomorrow, depending on weather. But I've been proud of the girls so far, and we still have a long way to go. So all that stuff's behind us, and we got to keep looking forward to what we have ahead.
Coach Greiser, on your side of things, kind of describe the process you guys experienced at this point, and your team, and kind of what you expect moving forward.
Yeah, it's crazy COVID season. We got started late with 1 week in December. We got to start on December 7th, and then we only got to go that 1 week, and then the governor shut everything down, and then jumped back in January, and we were still in pods. So we had 9 sophomores together and our 8 returners together. And then first day of that, we had a guy come down with COVID in the one pod. So we literally had 8 guys practicing for 10 days. And actually it was only 7 because we had Christian Rawanski, our senior returning starter. He's been out the whole year with an injury. So we only had 7 in that group. We scrimmaged Leechburg, and a guy missed with a football commitment. So we only had 6 guys scrimmage against Leechburg, and did pretty well. We were looking forward to things. And then, we started off pretty brutal schedule wise. We started with North Catholic opening night, returning 3A Whitfield champs. Literally we picked up the JV team. They showed up before we got on the bus. We had a 40-minute walkthrough, and we went and played a JV game that night since we hadn't seen them in 10 days. Then we came back and we played knock at home, and it was, another weird situation. The middle school got shut down, so we had to go to the high school. Like, we found out 2 hours beforehand. We were switching venues, and they were top 5 preseason in 4A. So, that was a little weird, and we lost that one. And then, 2 nights later, we're going to Highlands, who's the defending 4A champ, and they're pretty good again this year. And so we started off rough 0-3 start with kind of everything you could imagine kind of happened. Keystone Oaks, we literally 3 different times the day before the game got a call. Either once we were shutting down or twice they shut down. And then we ended up playing them back to back, with another snow out. We ended up playing them on a Friday and a Wednesday. So we played them back to back. So the last 6 were 4-2. And I kind of expected a little bit especially once Christian just wasn't able to play, and Colin Gaspersik, another senior we had, he decided, he was going to step away from the team. So now we're literally with no seniors. So, in our regular rotation, we have 4 juniors, and we play 4 or 5 sophomores as well. So we make those young mistakes sometimes, but we're learning from it, and we're 4-2 in the last 6, and we're improving, and that's what the goal is. And we, with the open playoffs, we have opted in, so we are going to participate and we just feel like it's going to help us in the long run, program wise, and hopefully we continue playing well how we have, and then who knows, playoffs is a whole new season then.
Absolutely, Coach. And, we could expound upon a lot of what you just said, but we'll leave that for another podcast. One thing that folks don't know about you, too, and that's why we're having you on here, is that you have a huge sports acumen. You know what you guys are talking about when it comes to sports. Participated in a couple fantasy football leagues with you guys. So we'd like to get onto those things. I'm going to start with you, Wayne, bringing it back around. What are your thoughts on the Steelers, and what should they do with the Ben Roethlisberger situation?
I think that personally, I would like to move on with him, but if he comes back and does the team a friendly type contract, then obviously you keep him. With the whole salary cap thing, I'm not a big salary cap guru type thing, but I know that's a huge thing, is looking at his salary and stuff. But unfortunately, our line isn't getting better overnight. You lose Pouncey as well, so I just don't see. I think in the long run, it may be better to move on and rely on the defense, maybe keep us in some games next year. But the defense should be good again next year. So does Ben come back and maybe help the team out with a friendly renegotiation type thing where he says, hey, defense is going to be pretty good, we can improve on offense and go from there. But I don't know. I thought they needed a new offense coordinator, new offensive line. They went out and got both of them, but I don't know how new they are really, because they just hired the assistant. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Frank, your thoughts?
Yeah. I go back and forth between my like business mind and personal opinion. Like business wise, I do believe that Ben gives us the best shot to be successful next year. I don't think drafting somebody that can jump in is going to do any better. So I guess from a competition standpoint, I get it. Personally, I'm a big fan. Both teams, both Ben and the team, they signed a contract, whether it was great or not. And I'm a fan of holding to it. I say the same thing whenever players hold out. I understand players hold out. They want more money. Good. Go get your money whenever you can. I understand that, but I'm also a believer that from the franchise's side and from the player's side, you sign a contract, hold to it. So I don't blame Ben if he doesn't take a player friendly or an organization friendly deal. I would like to see it. From a business standpoint, if he's serious about winning, he's going to have to take something like that and free up some cap space and do those things. I just don't know if he's necessarily going to do it. But Wayne hit on the head. Beyond Ben, there's some other issues going on that which should reinforce why a team friendly deal is something that's needed. So I kind of sit in the fence both ways with it. But I would like to see him, having made his money through his career, take some sort of cut, and if he wants to stick around and compete for a Super Bowl, because that's what's going to need. We have to bring pieces in.
Yeah, I agree. He's got to take a team-friendly deal. It's $41.25 million cap hit. It's not working. If he's going to be a Steeler next year, he's got to renegotiate and push that money a little further down the line or whatever. I'm a Ben guy. I've always have been. Big fan of Ben, and I want him back. I thought the way we started this year, the first 6 games of the season, I thought we're a Super Bowl contender. And then that rough stretch at the end of the season, then just, come out and crap the bed a little bit against the Browns in the first quarter. It was just such a downhill slide. And I don't know if that's all on Ben. We had so many injuries at linebacker. Like you said, Wayne, the offensive line was patchwork. You saw Pouncey decline throughout the season. Obviously, he's retired now. And I think I agree with Frank. Ben does give us the best chance to win. I'm certainly not sold on Mason Rudolph, though he did look decent in that finale against Cleveland. But I want Ben back. I hope that he doesn't need the money. Let's face it. He's probably the highest paid player in Steelers history. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be comfortable no matter what. And I think that I can't see him in a different uniform. I know some pundits have talked about maybe him going somewhere else next year. I can't see it. I think he really cares about his legacy in Pittsburgh. So hopefully for my money, he's back next year under center, and we'll give it one more shot with him to try and get a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger for me is kicking the can down the road. It is absolutely kicking the can down the road. And I say that because in every great organization, there is a rebuilding process. Maybe rebuilding might be a strong word for it, but the fact of the matter is you have to start thinking about what it is that is after Ben Roethlisberger. I'm by no means saying it's Mason Rudolph. I would like to see this year, considering his deal is up after it, that he get this opportunity now. With that in mind, after that, you're able to see what you have. You don't have to invest in a quarterback in this draft, even though I'm a proponent. Maybe if there's a guy that slips in this particular draft, not going to say any names, Mac Jones. But if a guy happens to slip in this draft, I'm all about maybe going after it. But I don't want to be thinking about quarterback in this draft because there are so many holes. You talk about that aging secondary as far as corners are concerned. The running back committee that Benny Snell is, I think he's still there, of course, but James Conner is gone, and we know that. I would like to see some more McFarland, but I do think you need to start targeting maybe a running back that's going to be different than what you've had. There's too much similarity there. So for me, I'd like to see this team start thinking more about the future. I'd like to see them start thinking about what their options are after Ben, because Mason Rudolph's contract, like I said, is up after this year as well. What are you going to do if Ben does retire next year? You might be without any quarterback options at all. And that's one thing that I think could really handcuff them worse than I feel like they are at this moment in time. Josh?
Yeah, let's talk about the JJ Watt possibility. Houston cut him loose. Obviously, TJ, I thought, should have been Defensive Player of the Year. It's tough to lose to Aaron Donald because he's just so dominant. But, back-to-back seasons with TJ, being in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. And his other brother, Derek, didn't play much this year. He was hurt. But, what do you think the possibility is to get all three Watt brothers in black and gold?
Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I'll hop on. Well, with the TJ Watt, Aaron Donald situation, at least if he's going to lose, at least he loses to a pick guy, so it makes it easier. It makes it easier for me to swallow that he lost that. But I mean, if you can get JJ Watt for a very friendly deal, I'm open to bringing him in. I mean, he's shown he's a great leader. He's a role model. He works his butt off. I mean, he does all those things the right way. That I think he'd be fantastic to have in the locker room, a locker room that you can debate the leadership in there as it is. So I think that would go a long way. But if it's paying him any type of serious money, I'm not a fan of it. Joe kind of did say, I mean, inevitably there is going to be some sort of building process, and when that happens, we don't know. But coming up, we have some big contracts that we're going to need to figure out and pay some people. And I mean, one of them is TJ Watt. Going through that, I just don't think we can get them. I mean, it sounds cool having all three Watt brothers together. Bringing a guy like JJ is awesome, but if it's any type of serious money, I'm not a fan of it. I would rather see that money go into youth that is going to develop and maybe outplay that contract, as opposed to JJ, where it would be like a deteriorating situation. So I'm just trying to be realistic with it, and those are my thoughts there.
Mr. Grazer.
I'm in the same boat. I think if he comes in and gives the family discounts, take him and add him and improve the defense, I think it definitely could improve the defense for a couple years. Obviously, he's already 31. Which acting like that's old, but in NFL standards it is. I think he would help us for a few years. But if it's going to be like Frank said, for a big amount of money, I'd rather them invest that in some other pieces, filling in maybe looking running back or offensive line, tight end. Like I just feel like tight end has been a big. That's just, speaking of Pitt football, that's like a position that's non-existent in the Pittsburgh football world, between the University of Pittsburgh and the Steelers. The tight end just hasn't happened. But even safety like Terrell Edmonds, I don't know. I know he's they got to determine if they're going to sign him or not. So, I mean, the money is the biggest issue. I think they could look at other ways of using it. So just my little key or play on words. It just depends on what kind of deal he gives us.
Pun intended right there. We're going to switch sports here, guys. We're going to go from football over to baseball now. I don't know if you guys are Buccos fans. I'm slowly coming back. I've been, begging them to burn it down for years after they dismantled that 98 win team, after the 2015 season, and just piece by piece got rid of stuff that was a contender in a tough division. And I've been asking them to burn it down, and they've burned it down. So, Frank, you can go first. What do you think about the job that new GM Ben Cherington has done with the Pirates so far?
Yeah, I mean, I am a big Buccos fan. I mean, in terms of the pro sports, I'm Pirates would be, if they're all successful, Pirates are probably at the top of the list for me. And then the Steelers, and then the Pens. But that's all after Pitt, obviously. But I agree. I mean, it's not popular, especially whenever they were competitive a few years ago. But if you're going to blow it up, don't half do it. If you're going to do it. And that's why I am happy about that. It's a complete rebuild, and that's what's needed. And I don't like it. I don't want to wait 5 to 7 years for them to have any type of success. But given the current baseball climate and what we know of the owner with the money that he's willing to spend, this is the unfortunate reality that baseball and the Pittsburgh Pirates are in. So no, I've been happy with it, and I know they don't have a whole lot more pieces left, but if they can start shelling out anybody they possibly can, the farm system was already weak to begin with, so it much needed to be revamped. They do have the number 1 overall pick this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they have the number 1 overall pick next summer as well. So I mean, you're going to get some youth into the system, and I just hope that the management has looked at the last 5 to 7 years and seen what they did wrong, and when it comes back around this time, are they willing to do what's needed to push it over the top, assuming baseball doesn't do anything crazy with their with how they run things. So but no, I'm good with it. It's an unfortunate reality, but if you're going to do it. That's my thought.
Wayne, your thoughts?
I agree. Like Frank said, I'm kind of a huge Pitt fan, and then baseball and the Pirates are probably the top of my professional list. And I mean, I think he's doing a good job of blowing it up, getting rid of the guys who are our best players, and getting and rebuilding, restocking the minor league system a little bit. The problem is, like, I've always felt like it's the motto of the Pirates is, give us 3 or 4 years and we'll be good again. And, we got that little taste of the playoffs, and then we never made a trade then. And then the next year we decided, we'll go trade some prospects for Archer, and that trade fizzled quickly. It's
a mild way to put it.
Yeah.
That's why we're here right now, basically. Yeah. So.
And you always hear my biggest gripe with the Pirates is you always hear, we got these prospects. They're great in AAA, and they come to the majors and they're not good enough. Like, we've got the best 4A players baseball has probably ever had in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. Like, they're too good for AAA, but they're not good enough for Major League Baseball and to make that thing. But feel like we are blowing it up. We play our cards right. We'll have 2 years in a row the number 1 overall pick. So hopefully that's some instant talent who could definitely be quicker to the majors than a guy, you're drafting lower in the first rounds. It's a little bit of a project, but I mean, I could be completely wrong, and these trades could all be Chris Archer type deals where we get the garbage guys, the prospects that aren't, good. That's the game of baseball, though. You never know prospect wise how good, they are. If you're trading for a major league caliber guy who's already been up there, you know what you're getting kind of. But when you trade for these guys and you're like, he's number 3 on their list, that's great. But number 4 through 7 could all end up being Hall of Famers. You never know. It's just the way it works out. But I don't know. Sometimes I get tired of hearing the motto, we're the future's bright, the future's bright. So we'll go and see how it goes, but hopefully it works out.
One thing that interests me is, Frank, I've never noticed that you were such a big Pirates fan. That's a topic I guess we never got to cover. But I agree with something you said there a moment ago. You mentioned that it wasn't something that was meant to happen right now. Of course, it is. Again, I mentioned this term earlier, is kicking the can down the road a little bit. And that does get frustrating after a time, because once you do it so many times, people don't want to buy into that idea anymore, even when you win 98 games like they did in 2015. For me, Frank, another thing you mentioned was just the climate of baseball right now. That's the bigger problem, and that was a topic I wanted to kind of cover on more. But the climate of baseball right now is so toxic, just because you're asking teams like the Pirates, who are spending right now, as it stands, I think somewhere around $36 million opening day roster. Whenever that's the case, and you have players in the league making more money than that per season, that's a red flag, I think, for the sport in itself. What the Pirates have to do then, and if we're going to take that all aside and just understand that that's just a part of the game itself, and you play that small market game, I like what the Pirates have done. Ultimately, we have to think about the recent history. You talk about that 98 win team and what they were able to do. The one thing Huntington wasn't able to do that I think you're seeing from Cherington is get the most for the players and that talent that you are discarding, whether it's a Josh Bell, whether it's a Jameson Taillon, whether it's a Joe Musgrove. You think about this. We got more for Joe Musgrove than we got for Garrett Cole, who had 2 years left on his deal when he was parlayed to the Houston Astros when he was. You think about that, the best piece you probably got out of that was Joe Musgrove, who's now gone, and he brought you back more in that package than Garrett Cole did. It doesn't excuse it, but I do like what, ultimately, just to wrap that up, I do like what the Pirates are doing. They're using all the different avenues. They're drafting well. You guys mentioned they're going to have that top pick. It's Kumar from Vanderbilt, luckily, are probably going to go to them. They used the Rule 5 draft to get Jose Soriano, a guy that came off Tommy John surgery, who is very high-end talent, has a lot of velocity. We know with how Tommy John is now, guys can recover from that quickly. And you just think about those moves made. It was an empty cupboard, like Wayne said, as far as the minor leagues, and somehow making those trades, as you saw during the offseason, Josh Bell, Joe Musgrove, Jameson Taillon, you bolt from 23rd, according to Keith Law, to 13th. That's pretty remarkable when you really think about it. So, yeah, I don't like how, as Frank said, the climate of baseball is. All I can do is take it for what it is. It is what it is. I can't change it based on that, being a small market fan like I am as being a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. I'm happy with what Cherington's done, because I think that's it's refreshing. I'm not taking anything away from what Neil Huntington did early on, but it kind of spoiled, I think, towards the end.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, let's take a quick break for a second and check out the high top sports painting that my brother Jesse did for our studio here. Two original Jesses right there. That's the Lombardi and the World Series trophy and the Stanley Cup. And as you guys know, my brother is quadriplegic. He paints with his mouth, and we got him to do the logo here. So I just wanted to give Jess a quick shout out on the podcast and say thanks for that awesome High Top Sports Network painting.
Looks great. Love it.
Yeah, he mentioned he paints with his mouth. I couldn't paint that well with my hands. No. So that's why it's amazing.
Yeah. No, that was the very first thing I noticed when when I logged in here and I saw your webcam, the High Top Sports, that was the first thing I noticed. But that's awesome. I didn't know. I actually somehow didn't know Jesse was your brother.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you've seen him in a million games.
Oh, I know him. Yeah, I know him from back in the day. I had no clue. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, he's been painting for a long time. And obviously, as you can see, he's got some real talent. Like Joe said, I know I couldn't paint that with my hands. But listen, guys, let's jump to a subject that I know that you'll both really appreciate here. Pitt hoops. So we'll talk some Pitt hoops right now. What about this Pitt team is making them so streaky? Wayne, you want to go first?
I think it's Xavier Johnson. He's the leader, the point guard, 3-year returning starter, and his play has been so up and down that I think it affects the team. And there's obviously more to it, but I think that's the big cog is him. He makes the team go. I watched the game yesterday with Eric Westendorf. He's a huge Georgia Tech fan because his dad went there and played there.
Oh, cool.
Football wise. And so we got a little brotherly love right there with watching that game together. So we watched it, and he gets some silly fouls and stuff and a technical, and then he always seems to turn it over at the wrong time and try to force some things, stuff just crazy to think about. But I think he is the big reason. And then for some reason they can never just land like a pure outside shooter and a center. Like finally they get this Ugly guy come in center wise, and he has his off the court issues, so he's no longer with the team, and they just can't get a guy who can just flat out just shoot it. And as soon as he lets it go, it's going in. They got Horton. He's been shooting it well lately, but they just can't get a guy consistently out there either. So I think that hurts. And then the typical Pitt team, their lousy foul shooting doesn't help either. So those would be the big things for me, Pitt hoops wise.
Coach Nagy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Wayne and I have a deep down bias that everything has to go through a point guard. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we both feel that it all starts with the point guard play. And Xavier Johnson is he's the catalyst for that. And then, going beyond that, same thing, Horton and Nike Sabande transferred from Miami. They were supposed to be able to shoot the ball pretty well. Horton he's given some game. I think yesterday he had a pretty solid game, but other than that, he's been up and down. But yeah, I was going to say Xavier Johnson, and then post play. For Capel, for some pretty good players that he's landed after the Stallings debacle, haven't been able to get the post play, and I'm not understanding why. It's not more enticing. You're basically telling a top post player in the country, hey, if you come here, you're going to start and you're going to play right away. I feel like it's such an easy pitch if a kid cares about playing time that to get a quality center in here. I don't want to just compare Capel and Dixon, but I'm comparing it to Dixon whenever Pitt was successful year in and year out. You can argue if they got to the peak, that's fine, but like it or not, they were basically a Sweet 16 type of team, year in, year out. And they had good point guard play and they had good post play. And you have to have those things, especially if you're going to compete in the ACC. I understand the ACC's down a little bit this year compared to usual years, but that's not going to last. It's going to be, back to being the top conference in the country. So just the streaky play is what kills me. But I also feel that I've been realistic with it, that after they have a big win, I also understand that they can lose to Georgia Tech twice in a year, like they just did now. I know they have Wake coming up. Wake is a team they probably should beat. In no way do I feel that that's a done deal. So it's definitely just frustrating being a Pitt fan, but that goes with the territory. Pitt football, basketball, everything. You learn to be numb to it to a degree.
Guys, gonna get to party words. We're getting to our time limit here, but gonna start with you, Wayne. Anything in the sports landscape, anything that we didn't get to cover tonight that you'd like to bring up?
Just looking forward to March Madness and how that's going to go. And after not having it last year and then this year, it all being in one location and things, I'm looking forward to it and just getting back to normal in the sports world. I don't know if normal will ever exist anymore, though. That's the bad thing, Looking forward to baseball starting just because that means it's golfing weather.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I don't know much about watching the Pirates this year, but it means it's golfing weather. So I look forward to that part of it too. But just appreciate having me on and talking sports.
Yeah, Coach, I know you play at Bird's Foot quite a bit. This is a foursome right here. We got to get it done.
Yeah, definitely. We can make it work.
Yeah.
And also, you brought up March Madness and not having it last year, and it extra burn for me because my alma mater, Hofstra University, made the tournament for the first time in 20 years, and then we didn't have a tournament. and they're not as good this season. And it's just, I was so annoyed whenever it got canceled because I was in college the last time they made the tournament. And it's just, you go to a small school like that and to get into the dance, it was just so exciting. I just remember the feeling on campus it was so exciting. And we knew we were going to get blown out by UCLA, but it was still cool to be there. And I had a little bit of that feeling again. They went on such a great run last year and then poof, up in smoke.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, it's just crazy to think back to that was like when everything started. It was like, oh, we're pulling the plug on conference tournaments. And it's like, oh, they'll still have March Madness. And then it's like, oh, they decided to cancel it. And then it's like Groundhog Day. We're almost back to where it all started.
Yeah, hopefully, like you said, normalcy somewhat returns here and we get the tournament in. I know they'll do it this year because I think, pro sports helped them kind of figure out bubbles and all that stuff and, get those teams in there and play for it because it is the most exciting event, I think, in sports.
Definitely. Nothing like March Madness.
Coach Nagy, your parting words.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, I'm down for the bird's foot, sometime in the summer. Absolutely.
Make it happen, fellas. Definitely.
And then I just have to shout out to Wayne. I don't know if you guys know that, he assembled when I was back in high school. He assembled my AAU team and helped coach us back in the day. So we have our own history there from when I played back. That was like my sophomore year of high school, freshman to sophomore year, I think is when it was. And then Eric Jackson took my team. You went on to Matt Vico and the kids younger than me. But he has some experience assembling the AAU squad back in the day before it was cool.
Yeah.
Before everybody played AAU, it was like one kid from every school.
Exactly.
No, but it nailed it with March Madness. It's, I'm sure my supervisors aren't watching, but like I take a sick day every year, for March Madness, and have some people come over and hang out or go to Coach Parks's house or something. I mean, that's an event every year that we do, set up multiple TVs. And, Josh, you're saying about Hofstra, for those small schools, even if you're the best team in the conference, you have to win your tournament everywhere but the Ivy League. So it's even crazier. And you're one team in that conference is getting in. So and it's not even whenever you're the best team in the conference necessarily because of the tournament, because of the conference tournament and everything. So just the experience for the kids. I always feel that's taken away from them. But then as fans, there's no better, really first 4 days of a sport than that. All the games that are jammed in there, the first 4 days, the upsets and everything. I'm really looking forward to that getting kicked up and hopefully with the vaccines getting rolled out, we get to some sort of normalcy. Literally like 2 hours ago, I was just thinking to myself how bad I want to go to a pit game on a Saturday. Go down to the Pete and buy nachos and just hang out and watch a game. It's the little things like that we grew up with. My dad had season tickets, so I was spoiled with getting to go all the time and everything. And I had them for a couple years. Just the things that we kind of took for granted and thought was normal, a year ago and how everything can change so quickly. So just hoping with the vaccine rollout and everything that we can kind of get back to the things that distract us from life and that we love and enjoy.
Coach Nagy, you kind of stole my thunder there. That was you kind of the segueing into what I was thinking is the getting back to normalcy. It seems like we're getting closer and closer to it. We can anticipate fans. We talk about baseball still being around the corner, but we can anticipate fans being there. We can anticipate fans having maybe a small chance of attending those games in March Madness that you mentioned there. We're getting back to that normalcy, and man, does it seem like such a long time since we felt that. It's about a year right now that we all can say that we stood in a gym and didn't have to wear a mask. That's a really long time. Coach?
Yeah, I just want to say, especially because we're getting there. We're getting, we're for the district champions in high school that qualify, because the PIAA is only taking district champions to states. But, I think back to when we were in states, 3-4 years ago, I think to myself that that experience was so special. Like we filled up an entire side of NA from West Shamokin, like just West Shamokin. And I think to myself, those environments that the students are being stripped of, and I'm not disagreeing with the decisions. I absolutely understand that everything needs to be limited, but I'm just saying, just getting back to, as you said, Joe, going to games and having those experiences. I mean, then that's what it is. It's experiences. Don't get me wrong. It's great to have an NFHS subscription. I can watch our boys play every single night. I can hop on and watch Freeport play if I want. I can watch like everybody play no matter what. But watching a game sitting on your couch is a lot different than sitting there in the stands and having that, feeling the emotion, feeling the sound, the adrenaline, the changes in momentum. I mean, it's totally different. And that's a special thing that I think a lot of people are realizing that we miss. And just hopefully we're getting back to that. So sorry, I don't want to cut you off or something, but that was just something I was thinking with the high school sports in particular.
No, you're good. That was very eloquently said, as always. I just think we're getting closer to it. We think back to spring when they canceled baseball season, in my opinion, maybe a little too prematurely based on what we were able to execute in the fall and now into the winter. Yes, there are cancellations, games are getting moved around, but we're making it happen. And yeah, it would be ideal if we could have people in the crowd, but just the fact that's happening, that's what I think is my biggest takeaway. And what I'm most grateful for is because, we look at that stoppage back in December, there was no telling what was going to happen after that. And for us even to get to this point and be talking about playoffs and these final few weeks of the season and get analysis from you guys, the fact we're even having these conversations about your teams is pretty fantastic, all things considered. And it just seems like we're the finish line is certainly closer than the starting point, I think, in all of this.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, the one positive out of this whole COVID thing is High Top Sports Network. You guys, our fans love it. They appreciate the coverage you guys give our teams and our, the high school athletes. Like, I don't think some of these kids realize like how cool it is. Like, they're literally on TV, and yeah. I mean, like Frank said, there's nothing like being at a game, sitting there watching it and stuff like that, and packed gym. But there's also nothing like, people, your relatives in Florida, wherever, they can turn it on and watch you. And not just like, no offense to NFHS and the camera falling up and down with nothing, like the commentary and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, that's what makes it, guys. And, I just want to make sure we get that out there too, that we appreciate everything you guys do for the local athletes in the area.
Thanks a lot. That means a lot coming from you guys. I know that I can speak for Joe on this one, that you two, you were the guys we reached out to today, and you're our two favorite coaches as far as basketball. I can speak for you on that, right? No?
We're on the record. This will appear on HighTopSportsNetwork.com. But as far as quick guys that I know are sports savvy and wouldn't have a hard time sitting down and doing this, you guys are definitely at the top of the list there. But yeah, thank you, Wayne, for those words, man. That means a lot. And Frank, you always have kind things for us to say to us when we're at these games. Yeah. And both your fan bases have truly embraced us, and we're very grateful for that. And it's not just this year with High Top Sports Network. Obviously there's a history before this, and I don't want to discredit those days. They mean a whole bunch to me, and I know they mean a whole bunch to this guy. And I'll speak for Jake DeLuca, who is our third partner in this company, that I know it means a lot to him as well. So, it's not just these last 5-6 months that mean so much to us. It's that time before that. And, if we had just known each other for 5-6 months, we probably wouldn't be doing this right now. So I'm thankful for that time, even before this, because for that's why we're sitting here. That's why we're talking. That's why we're having this conversation. And we're tremendously grateful for you guys and all our other coaches and your teams and your fan bases.
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I thought it was so cool when I played in high school that, I don't know if you guys are at Katanning, Rizzo did like some commentary for on the radio. There was the local Family Life TV.
Yeah.
In Katanning had that, and Mike Rizzo did some, and I was like, oh my gosh, we were on the radio. It was like the most amazing thing ever that happened one time in my high school career. And like Wayne said, I don't think the kids now realize how awesome it is to have guys like you do do these things. We didn't have Twitter. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have people streaming our sports on TV or anything like that. We were rarely on the radio. Just things like that. I guess the platform, the exposure, you have people from all over. I mean, I have family in different states that are saying, "Hey, I got to watch you." Awesome. My in-laws, same thing. They just moved down to, North Carolina. They're like, "Hey, got to watch West Shamokin." It's absolutely awesome what you guys have done. And I know we've talked about it before, but just providing our student athletes this opportunity. I'm sure they might not now, but one day they'll really realize how special they have it.
Well, again, thank you guys. You make the time for us always in games right now here in an evening where you could be, I know, Wayne, you got movie night coming up, man, right?
Oh, we do. My wife's a big scary movie person, so I agreed since there's no game tonight that I would watch any movie she chose. So last I heard was Pet Cemetery, so we'll see.
Oh, no.
Oh, good. The original?
I would probably be rubbing her shoulders with my eyes closed behind her, and she won't even know I'm not watching. As you guys probably see on Facebook, my daughters love to scare me, so my heart probably can't take too much. And honestly, Frank, I don't know if it's the original or not. I just say, pick a movie, honey, and we'll watch it. So we'll see.
The original is a good one. Back from my childhood. It's a tough one though. I was way too young to be watching it. So
I can't believe she didn't pick Hoosiers or something like that. We're getting
Space Jam's going on in my game room right now.
Nice.
My kids are watching Space Jam. So
that's tremendous.
Well, thanks so much, guys, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Hope we get to do it again soon.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, guys. And that about wraps it up here on High Top Sports Network. For Josh Schreckengoss, my name is Joe Rhodes, West Shamokin Girls varsity basketball coach Frank Nagy, and Freeport Boys varsity basketball coach Wayne Greiser. Thanks so much, guys.